Alright, Shalom. Of course, I'm going to start off by giving all praise to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And this is just going to be a little flow for the spirit. I just wanted to start off with this whole circumstance, which we got going on right now. This new, global crisis, which is really, just these two countries. However, the effect is pretty much global at this point, man, because you got, excuse background noise, you got, people hitting the streets, in protests, saying that, that NATO, and the EU, they got to step in and, send some reinforcements, over to, Ukraine. Hey, things are getting serious, man. Putin said earlier, I was listening to the news, which is what you got to be doing right now. Got guys going around talking about that, you can't get your information off the news because it's all, fake or some bullshit like that. As I said, these guys are just making it up as they go along, man. But I was listening to the news, and, Putin said earlier that he's making his, basically the chiefs over the, his nuclear arsenal, he has them on high alert right now. Meaning what? That he ain't afraid, to click that red button, man. Which obviously you know what that means. Right? So, we're in a serious time right now, man. Now, this ain't no time that we playing games, man, taking this truth lightly, man. We're in a serious situation here. Okay, this event going on right now as I speak, which right now it's the 5th day of the of the invasion, right? It's the 5th day right now, because their time is a little bit faster than we are, because I'm over here in Babylon, right? I'm over here in America, so our time zones are a little different. So they're on the 5th day as of right now of this invasion. If you look at it, the Russians, believe it or not, they're getting their asses kicked, man. Right? They pretty much made no progress, from, where they originally, wanted to be, this far into the invasion. They thought they would have already conquered, the major strongholds, of the nation. But they really haven't even came close to doing so. All right, so, he overestimated, the power of his army. Right, he overestimated the power of his army. Because those Ukrainians, man, what they did is they have pretty much most of their citizens, other than the ones who fled, everyone there is picking up arms, man. You got people even in their, in their 60s, if not older, who are fighting back. Right? So, the Russians are having a pretty hard time, to hold any strongholds over there. Right? They can't really find a good, what's the word I'm looking for? They can't really find a good occupation, for lack of better words. So they're being pushed back, man. And Putin ain't ready, to, call the whole thing off. Excuse me. He ain't ready to do that. And he came too far into it, man. Right? He came too far, to turn back now. And they're talking about, these, these peace talks that they want to meet and have a peace talk. All that's a bunch of bullshit, because all they're going to tell you is, their version of a peace talk is, you surrender to them, and they'll let you live. That's the peace talk. That's the way it goes. right? You surrender, you know, and we'll let you live. But if not, if you want to continue the conflict, then guess what? Then you and everyone else that stands in the way, then you're going to get killed. And that's just the way it is. Right? He ain't playing around, man. You know, as I said, we're in a serious time, man. Hey, look, for everything we're seeing right now, this has to be the start of World War III, man. Right? Where no one has a crystal ball, you know, so we don't know what's going to happen next week. We don't know how this whole thing's going to pan out. So that disclaimer has to be made clear, of course. Excuse the wind if you hear it in the background. I'm walking outside. So please do excuse that if you hear it. My bad, but, you know, we don't have a crystal ball where we can see the future, so we don't know how this thing's going to play out, man. But it's, you know, it ain't looking too good. And really, you know, for those of us in this truth, right, that's actually a good thing. Why? Because we know the scriptures. You know, the scriptures speak about there being, you know, 3, you know, world wars. You know, so really, you know, this is just, you know, the prophecies coming to pass, which is, of course, a good thing. You know, so we're not complaining. Hell, I mean, those of us in this truth, man, we hope World War III kicks off tomorrow. Is what we hope. Why? Because that's a sign of the end of the world. Right? And who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, which his name's Yahushai. But he's going to return pretty much after World War III, man. Right? And that's a whole other video topic, you know, in and of itself. But the Lord wants to get in on the action. That's why someone put up a video earlier today. They were watching the, you know, the news broadcast from over in Ukraine, and they looked in the background, you know, because they were trying to zoom in on these buildings, you know, that got hit by a strike. But they happened to notice that in the background, if you look close, you'll see there's about 50 Tic Tac UFOs just hovering and behind it. They were literally, you know, the Tic Tac UFOs, the white orbs that people record all over the world. There's 50 of them just floating there in the sky, man. Right? People call them aliens, right? But we know that they're actually, you know, those are actually the chariots of the Most High, right? God's angels are inside of those spacecrafts, right? Those are the vehicles that the Most High's angels used. You know, they use it to maneuver themselves, and that's in the scriptures, right? The angels have chariots. So these UFOs, those are the angels' chariots. No, and that's a whole nother video, so I'm not going to get off onto that, but that's what it is. So that shows you, man, that they're watching, right? They got their hands in this. The Most High has his hand behind it. Amos 3 and 6, if there's evil in the city, it was not the Lord the one that done it. Scriptures also say, Proverbs 21 and 1, the heart of the king is in the hands of the Lord, and as the rivers of water, he turns it whatsoever he will. Right, so the Lord, you know, it has these world leaders in his trick bag, man. He could put thoughts into their mind to make them do certain things. And that's everywhere in the scriptures. Revelation 17, verse 17. Just to give an example. Or I'll give you an even better example. If you go back and read the Exodus story, you know, the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart so he would not let the Israelites go, even after they seen all the plagues that the Lord brought upon them. Right? They seen, you know, the plague of lice, the plague of frogs, you know, how they slayed their cattle. You know, I'm not going over all the plagues, but you can read the story yourself. But the last plague that made, you know, the Egyptians cast the Israelites out quick was the Lord took the life of, you know, their firstborn sons. So they were like, oh, well, we better get these people out of here, you know, or we might all be dead. You know, so hey, look, we'd rather get these cats out of here than for us to also all be dead, right, along with our firstborn sons. So that was the final plague that the Lord brought upon them that made the Israelites, you know, free from under that servitude. The Egyptians cast them out after that one. But it took all those plagues in order for the Egyptians to let them go. topic, but I'm going back. But yeah, man, you know, we just got to have our eyes on what's going on, man. No, because this ain't no little thing, man. This certainly has the capabilities of bringing the next world war, man. Okay, and I'll give you an example. The Germany and NATO, or it may have been the EU, it was either NATO or the EU, they were sending over military equipment into Ukraine. So Putin said, you know, if anybody gets involved in this, you know, you're gonna bring destruction upon yourself. And he was making a nuclear threat with that statement, obviously. So guess what? NATO got involved. They sent over equipment. Now, what's that equipment going to be used for? To slay Putin's troops. So guess what? They got involved. Okay, so over in Germany, we know they're, you know, rolling in World War II. You know, but now, you know, here it is. They're sending over some support for Ukraine. They're sending over military equipment that they can use against the Russians. So obviously, man, you know, any day now, this global conflict can get kicking off, man. And that's the time we're in, man. We're in the time of all those prophecies coming to pass, man. That's the time we're in. We're in a serious time right now, man. So cats rather argue when I come aboard, want to argue about if dinosaurs existed or not. Got this one cat on there, man, this guy Daniel. He came on earlier, man. He was like, oh, you know, you can't really listen to, you know, ETT, because he said that some of his content's not child friendly. So see, we can't listen to him. It's like, well, wait a second, dumbass. If you listen to what I said, you know, COPA, this channel is not intended for children. Why did I say that? Because if you don't know what COPA is, especially an institution that cracks down on, you know, videos online that's not acceptable for younger audiences, unless, you know, you give the disclaimer that the video is not intended for younger audiences. And maybe you didn't know that, but if you didn't, look it up. You had the nerve to come on there. It's like, we'll see. Well, the Bible says that it should be appropriate for everyone. So when he said it's not appropriate for children, we'll see. But you can't listen to him. Say, come on. And hey, look, man, your jokes ain't gonna work on us, man. Right? Hey, we see right through your bullshit. That's all I'm gonna say, man. We see right through it. You know, as I said, cats ain't deep. That's the same character I want to come on and debate about, you know, Christ dying for everyone. You know, of course, his only proof of his statement is John 3:16, right? You know what I'm saying? So it just shows you, man, he ain't too deep. But I ain't gonna make this about him. You know, this is about a serious thing. But I just wanted to quote that. It's like, here it is. World War III's about to pop off, but these cats want to come on and debate if dinosaurs ever existed, right? Or they want to talk about, you know, or certain celebrities, clones, right? They want to come on and have a 10-hour debate about that topic. But here it is. We have major world conflicts getting started here. And this ain't no light thing, man. You know, right now as I'm speaking, you know, over there across the plain, you know, you have this vicious wars that are going on, man. People are being killed right now. Our tanks are being blown up right now, man. You know, that's a serious thing, man. But hey, that all goes back to the prophecies, right? Christ said, you know, that you'd hear of wars and rumors of wars. But right now, we're not in the rumors of wars. We're in the actual, you know, wars themselves, because we've been under, you know, a lot of rumors. You know, the Israel and Gaza conflict, you know, for months people have been saying the Russians are going to invade. You know, so we've been under rumors for quite a long time. But now the conflicts are getting started. You know, and as I said, it all contains to the prophecies. You know, so that's all we're saying. You know, we're just going to say what the scriptures say. that it all, revolves around those prophecies, man. So if one can't get it, then you can't get it. Hey, the scriptures say, what is that? Romans 3:3. For what is some did not believe? Does their unbelief make our faith without effect? Of course not. Right, so, hey, look, if you don't want to believe, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I was looking at the comments, man. Somebody was like, oh, well, let's pray, for, everyone in Ukraine. And then somebody commented, and it was like, oh, well, where's God, in the middle of all this, right? Where's God at, middle of all this? Why will God let all this happen? And then someone joked about, oh, well, let God send, military equipment, to, Ukraine to show his support for him. But it's funny, because here it is, as we know exactly where the Most High is. The Most High is right in the midst. Exodus 15:3, the Lord is a man of war. Right, so the Lord is in the midst of all this going on. And what proves it? Well, because we know if there's evil in the city, God was behind it, Amos 3:6. But then someone earlier cited the UFOs. Literally right there in the midst of the chaos. Right? There was the UFOs, whole fleets of them. They're watching over. So as I said, man, God's right there in the midst of all the trouble. Right? He sees it. Because why? He's the one behind it. Why? Because we're in the time now of the throwing down of kingdoms. These empires had their time to rule, but guess what? Now we're in the time where they all got to be plucked up. Tells you, this is one of my personal favorites now, which is in 2nd Ezra, the 4th chapter. I'm nearly paraphrasing, but I believe it's in verse 27 or verse 37. And it basically says that the Lord, have established, all of these kingdoms, and he gave them a certain period of time to rule, and he's not going to intervene until, the measurement of time has been fulfilled. Meaning what? The Lord given these empires a certain time period to have dominion, so he's not going to intervene yet. Right, but guess what? Now we're coming to the end of that hourglass, so to speak. Right, now we're coming to the end of that time you got to rule. Like Esau, Edom, right, so-called white man. Esau, his time's running out. He has dominion over the world. 2nd Ezra is, 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Right, so this man, he sees his empire is going down, so they're starting, trying to bring in this, the so-called, new world order. They're trying to bring it in quick. They're trying to bring all these things in quick. So that's why you see all these global conflicts, popping off. But what they don't know is actually the Most High's new world order. Well, it's actually God's new world order. Why? Because God wants all this. Why? Because that's going to usher in his kingdom, man. And contrary to the Christian church, because they ain't going to tell you about that. They don't know jack shit about nothing. The Bible's true, but their interpretation of the scriptures is incorrect. But the scriptures are true. As we're seeing right now, everything in the world all lines up with what we read in the scriptures. Mark 13, Luke 21, Matthew 24. Isaiah 24. 2nd Ezra 15, 2nd Ezra 16. One of my personal favorites, 2nd Ezra 9th chapter, starting from verse 1. When there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then you'll understand that this is the same time where the highest will begin to visit the world. Right, so the highest, he's now visiting this world, man. And it's evident. Look what the hell's going on. This wasn't happening 2-3 years ago. Well, it was happening 2 years ago, but I meant to say, 3-4 years ago. This wasn't going on back then. Maybe a few things, but nothing like what we're seeing right now. All these events literally hitting at the same time. That's madness, man. And it shows the time we're living in. So I'm going to call that the lesson there. Hope that was edifying. I'm going to say shalom. Here, let it play out to 20 minutes just for my my OCD, and then we'll call that the lesson.